When people throw stones at the throne you're building, they don't realize every strike only sharpens its crown. That's the law of cosmic balance, the universe's quiet way of settling scores. Every action echoes, every intention loops back, and no one escapes the gravity of consequence. Those who try to trip you end up tangled in their own traps. Those who whisper behind your back eventually choke on the dust you leave behind. Because in this universe, energy doesn't disappear, it transforms. And when their envy burned, it only forged your steel. Times have we seen it repeat, legends ignored in their own time, only celebrated after the fact. Artists mocked until their work became priceless. Visionaries doubted until their inventions changed the world. The same pattern is playing out in your life. They laughed, they mocked, they ignored, and now they sit there embarrassed because you were the one. You were the rare find they'll never come across again. Chosen ones, this is your vindication. This is the universe proving what you knew all along. Their rejection wasn't a loss, it was redirection. Their sabotage wasn't punishment, it was preparation. So before we dive deeper, hit that like button and subscribe right now. You're not just supporting a voice, you're joining a movement of minds who refuse to kneel. Because every chosen one carries a strange power. The more they're attacked, the stronger they rise. Their noise fades, your silence thunders, their envy multiplies, your growth terrifies. Welcome to balance, where the universe sides with those who never stop rising. Before we move forward, take a second and ground yourself, because what's coming next isn't just a message, it's a mirror. You're about to understand why the very people who tried to bury your name can't stop digging through your success. So before we dive deeper, do 3 things. Hit that like button, subscribe, and drop the number 99 in the comments. That number marks a signal, not superstition, but alignment. A reminder that your energy is syncing with something unstoppable. Every like, every comment, every chosen one joining this movement amplifies the vibration of power that drives this channel forward. If you've ever felt their eyes on you, their curiosity turning into obsession, this message was meant to find you. Stay till the end, because we're not just talking about envy, we're decoding how your rise became their reckoning. This is your moment to see how the balance flips, how their hate becomes your confirmation, and how your very existence keeps them awake at night. Number 1. Stop playing by their rules and write your own victory manual. Peel back another layer of their humiliation. The moment they realized they didn't lose a follower, they lost the foundation. The rarest energy they'll ever encounter slipped through their fingers while they were too busy laughing. And now, every victory you earn replays in their head like a scene they can't delete. They thought your silence meant surrender. They thought your patience meant defeat. But silence is strategy. Patience is power disguised as peace. What they never understood is that quiet doesn't mean empty. It means calculating. It means you were loading while they were laughing. Chosen ones, if you've ever been misread as weak simply because you refuse to bark back, drop 777 in the comments. That number isn't luck, it's alignment. A reminder that the universe sees what's hidden and reveals it when the time is right. And before we move forward, hit that like button and subscribe, because this movement isn't just content, it's confirmation. Every time one of us rises, the vibration ripples outward, and the ones who doubted us feel the weight of their mistake even deeper. They confused your stillness with surrender, but still waters can drown a man faster than chaos ever could. You were never losing, you were observing. You watched their games, their gossip, their rehearsed arrogance, and instead of reacting, you took notes. Because while they sought validation, you sought evolution. And now, as you move with quiet precision, they panic. Because they can't read your next move. They used to think they were in control. Now they're chasing your shadow, trying to predict a storm that doesn't follow their forecast. Picture it like this. They were soldiers celebrating early, thinking the battle was over while you were still sharpening your sword in silence. And when you finally struck, it wasn't loud. It was clean, final, undeniable. That's why their confusion looks like anger now, because how do you fight someone who doesn't play your game? How do you defeat someone who stopped showing up to battles that were beneath them? The irony is brutal. They built their confidence on your reaction. And when you stopped giving them one, their entire illusion collapsed. The silence you walked in became their echo chamber. Every rumor they spread circles back like a boomerang, hitting harder each time. That's the balance of life. Every insult they threw became a seed of their own downfall. And now they're obsessed. Not just with what you're doing, but with how you stayed unbothered while they burned themselves out trying to get a rise from you. The universe has a cruel sense of humor. It lets the mockers become the watchers, the doubters become the documenters. They thought they buried you, but they were really planting your legend. And now, chosen one, the same silence they mocked is the reason they can't move on. Your calm became their chaos, your patience became their punishment, and their biggest regret will always be underestimating the quiet one. Number 2. Quit making excuses and turn every limitation into leverage. They called you lucky because it hurts too much to admit you earned it. They said you had help because the truth, that you built it brick by brick while no one believed, burns their pride to ash. Chosen one, this is where excuses go to die. Every time they said it's too late, too hard, too risky, you turned those words into fuel. You didn't beg the world to be easier. You became stronger than the world expected. That's what separates you from them. They see limitations as walls. You saw them as ladders. Every obstacle they feared to climb became your training ground. Every rejection letter, every ignored message, every sleepless night, it all sharpened you until even the things meant to break you started working for you. That's the secret they can't swallow. You didn't escape hardship. You mastered it. You learned to turn pressure into precision, pain into purpose, and fear into movement. That's why they watch you now, obsessed and confused. They don't understand how someone with less support, fewer chances, and louder enemies rose higher than they ever did. The truth is, they never lacked opportunity. They lacked discipline. They wanted applause before effort, comfort before courage. But you kept walking when no one clapped. You kept creating when no one watched. And now, every win you claim exposes their excuses for what they really are. Stories told to protect their comfort. Chosen one, remember this. Excuses are cages dressed as logic. The moment you stop making them, the bars dissolve. Every limit they tried to hand you became leverage in your hands. You flipped the weight they couldn't carry into the strength they'll never have. That's why they're obsessed. Because every excuse they made, you turned into evidence that you were never one of them. Number 3. Don't fear their doubt. Use it as the fire that proves them wrong. Chosen one, let them doubt. Let them whisper your name with uncertainty. Let them smirk when you speak your dreams out loud. Because their disbelief is the gasoline to your evolution. Every time they say you can't, the universe smirks and hands you another reason to keep going. Doubt is their weapon, but it burns from both ends. And while they swing it recklessly, you're the one learning how to turn that fire into fuel. They don't understand yet that your confidence was forged in the same fires they tried to light against you. Every insult, every dismissal, every eye roll became a spark. You collected them quietly, like a blacksmith collecting coals, and turned them into something unbreakable. Their words didn't destroy you. They defined your hunger. They built the version of you that no one can silence anymore. When they said, "You'll never make it," they unknowingly signed the blueprint of your rise. Because chosen ones don't fear rejection, they study it. They take every ounce of disbelief and convert it into momentum. That's why they're obsessed now. They can't process how the same mockery they threw at you became your armor. Imagine their confusion. The same words meant to wound, now echoing as applause. The same eyes that look down now can't look away. That's not coincidence. That's poetic balance. Because the truth is, their doubt was never your problem. It was your prophecy. So when they question you again, don't explain. Just smile. Let their uncertainty become the sound of your victory warming up. Because, chosen one, the louder their doubt grows, the brighter your proof will burn, until even they can't deny what the universe already knew. You were never the underdog. You were the spark they couldn't extinguish. Number 4. Never bow to false kings. Build a throne they can't touch. Chosen one, there comes a point where you stop asking for permission and start creating your own power. That's the moment everything changes, when their crowns lose value and their thrones turn to dust. The so-called kings who once sat above you, smirking from their fragile pedestals, now tremble at the sight of what you've built without them. They mistook their status for strength, their approval for authority. But power built on ego is a house made of glass. One truth, one rise like yours, and it all shatters. They called you reckless for walking away. They told you that you'd fail without their blessing. But the real failure was believing they ever had control. You didn't need their crown because you were already royalty in motion, not by title, but by resilience. You built your empire out of silence, persistence, and scars they never saw. While they were busy guarding gates, you were building entire kingdoms beyond their reach. And now they can't enter because what you've created isn't built on approval, it's built on authenticity. You see, false kings depend on followers. But a true ruler stands alone, guided not by applause, but by purpose. Every time you refused to kneel, you broke a chain. Every time you stayed silent instead of begging, you stole their illusion of power. That's why they're obsessed now, because they can't understand how you rose without their help. So let them sit on their crumbling thrones, pretending their words still matter. You're already too far above to hear them. The truth is, they never dethroned you. They revealed themselves. And now, as your light burns through their shadowed halls, they finally understand. You were never meant to serve a king. You were meant to become one. Number 5. Drop the mask before the mirror exposes you. Authenticity is your weapon. They spent their lives building masks so perfect they started believing they were real. Layers of imitation, filters of approval, borrowed personalities stitched together just to survive the crowd. But the universe always collects its debts, and truth has a cruel way of revealing itself. You, chosen one, didn't play that game. You walked in maskless, raw, real, unapologetic, and that's what broke them. Your authenticity became the mirror they've spent years avoiding. Because every time they look at you, they don't just see your rise, they see their own disguise cracking. They called you reckless for being honest, naive for being pure, foolish for being yourself. But deep down, their hatred was just recognition, a twisted kind of envy for the freedom they traded away. They performed while you lived. They conformed while you evolved. And now, your presence alone burns through their illusions like sunlight on glass. Their smiles tremble. Their eyes avoid contact. Because authenticity isn't just truth. it's confrontation. It forces liars to face the reflection they've spent their whole lives editing. Chosen one, that's why they're obsessed. They don't want to be you. They want to feel what you feel. That quiet power that comes from having nothing to hide. In a world addicted to pretending, you became dangerous by being real. Remember this, masks melt under pressure, but truth doesn't flinch. You don't need to shout, prove, or explain. Your existence does the exposing for you. So keep walking in your truth, even when it shakes their false foundations. Every time you breathe freely, they suffocate under their own performance. And one by one, their masks will fall, not because you tore them off, but because your light made pretending impossible. Number 6. Refuse to be predictable. Chaos in your flow keeps you free. They can't stand what they can't predict. It eats at them, keeps them restless, scrolling through every post, replaying every move, searching for a pattern that doesn't exist. That's what makes you dangerous, chosen one. You're not a formula, you're a frequency. You move like water, soft when you need to be, unstoppable when you decide to rise. Predictability is the cage they live in, but your freedom lies in the chaos they fear. You're unreadable, and that drives them mad. Because people who build their lives on control can't handle someone who doesn't move by their rules. While they plan 10 steps ahead, you take one step that changes the entire board. They rehearse. You improvise. They copy. You create. And every time they think they've decoded your rhythm, you switch tempo and leave them chasing ghosts. They call it inconsistency, but it's actually evolution. You've learned how to reinvent yourself before anyone can box you in. That's what power looks like. Not being everywhere, but being unpredictable enough that they can never see you coming. Think of it like a storm. No one commands it, no one predicts it. But when it arrives, everything shifts. That's you. You are the disruption their comfort never saw coming. The reason they watch you isn't just fascination, it's fear disguised as curiosity. Because every time you pivot, they lose control of the narrative they built about you. And that's what truly haunts them. So never apologize for your unpredictability. It's not confusion, it's protection. It's the art of staying free in a world that worships conformity. Keep moving, keep shifting, keep being the storm they can't contain. Because chaos in your flow is not disorder, it's dominance. Number 7. Rise after every fall until failure forgets your name. Chosen one, every time they cheered for your downfall, they unknowingly rehearsed for your comeback story. They thought the fall would finish you, but you were never built for collapse. You were built for resurrection. That's the difference between you and them. They fall and fold, you fall and forge. Every setback that was supposed to bury you only pressed the gold deeper into your spirit. Failure doesn't recognize you anymore because you stopped wearing its name. You turned it into fuel. They waited for the sound of your defeat, but what echoed instead was the rhythm of your return. Because while they celebrated your silence, you were rebuilding your empire brick by brick in the shadows. They thought the chapter was closed, but you were just sharpening your pen. You didn't come back to prove them wrong. You came back because destiny doesn't pause for mockery. And now, the very people who once threw dirt on your name are choking on the dust of your rise. Imagine this. A storm tearing through everything you've built. They stand on the sidelines, smiling, certain it's over. But when the clouds clear, there you are, standing taller, carved from the chaos itself. That's you, chosen one. You don't recover, you evolve. Each fall taught you precision. Each wound taught you wisdom. Each loss refined your power. And now, failure itself avoids your path because it knows what happens when it touches you. You turn it into legacy. So rise again and again until even the universe whispers your resilience like scripture, because when you refuse to stay down, you stop fighting for survival. You start commanding destiny. That's when failure forgets your name, and the world remembers it forever. Number 8. Escape the comfort that's quietly killing your greatness. Comfort is the quiet killer of greatness. It never shouts, it whispers. It convinces you that rest is the same as peace, that staying safe is the same as being smart. But chosen one, you were never built for comfort. You were built for conquest. Every time you choose the easy path, you trade a piece of your potential for temporary warmth. And that warmth soon turns cold when you realize you've been lulled into stillness by the very thing that fears your movement. Comfort is the most sophisticated trap ever designed. It doesn't chain you, it cushions you. It hands you a blanket and says, "Rest here, you've done enough." But deep down, you know you haven't even scratched the surface. Those who mocked you want you comfortable because a comfortable chosen one doesn't rise. They know that once you break the routine, once you step into discomfort again, the world shifts. Because growth only answers to one voice: hunger. Think of fire. It never burns where it feels safe. It devours what stands in its way. That's you when you move beyond your comfort zone. Unpredictable, unstoppable, uncontrollable. The same people who called you reckless will one day call you remarkable, because while they were cozy in repetition, you were crafting evolution. And now they're obsessed, not just with what you've become, but with how you escaped the trap they never saw. You broke free from the velvet cage they still sleep in. They can't understand how your restlessness became your weapon, but that's what makes you chosen. Your refusal to settle is your superpower. So when the comfort calls, let it ring. Greatness doesn't answer to safety. It answers to the fire that never stops burning. Number 9. Stop copying. Create the gold they'll spend their lives chasing. They were too busy copying to notice you were creating a world they could never enter. While they mimicked each other's moves, you were out there breaking ground no one else had the courage to touch. Chosen one, they laughed when you walked alone, but now their imitation is the only language they speak. And still, they can't reproduce your sound. Because originality isn't learned, it's lived. It's born in the silence of risk, in the hours when no one is watching, when you create from nothing but instinct and fire. They scroll your work, study your rhythm, rehearse your words. But what they don't understand is this: imitation can copy shape, never soul. You didn't chase approval, you chased alignment. While they begged for validation, you built value. And that's why they can't stop watching. Your creation exposed their lack of vision. You didn't just find gold, you became the mine. Every time they think they've caught up, you're already miles ahead, crafting something new from the same silence they fear sitting in. Think of it like this: they're digging in the same field, fighting over scraps, while you've already discovered a new continent. That's why they're obsessed. Because your originality made their sameness unbearable. You turned your difference into dominance. You proved that creativity isn't about doing what's trendy, it's about trusting what no one else sees yet. So let them watch, let them chase, because the harder they try to replicate your glow, the more the universe reminds them light can't be faked. Every chosen one carries their own frequency, and yours, chosen one, is the one they'll spend their whole lives trying and failing to duplicate. Number 10. Turn every wound into a weapon they'll never know how to hold. They threw their worst at you thinking it would break you. They aimed for a finish line that would stop your heartbeat and erase your name. Instead, every cut, every slight, every public embarrassment became the very material of your armor. You didn't just survive the hits, you forged from them a new kind of strength they can't comprehend and, crucially, can't use against you. Think about the mechanics of it. When someone wounds you, they expect a predictable reaction: pain, collapse, an apology, a plea. That's the script they signed up to see. You refused their script. You turned the sting into study, the humiliation into fuel, the setback into a blueprint. While they celebrated what they thought was your downfall, you were cataloging lessons, refining strategy, and rehearsing returns. Every scar became a notch on your map forward. This is how you weaponize wounds: classify the lesson, extract the advantage, disguise the comeback as normal life. They'll keep replaying the moment they thought they won, long after you're past it. Their obsession grows because they can't reconcile their action with your rise. They gave you the proof they were wrong. You gave them evidence they were irrelevant. Use metaphors they'll never forget. Turn their thrown stones into building blocks. Let their shame be the mortar in the foundation of your empire. Where they meant to bury you, plant the seed of your ascent. When they try to lift your past against you, show them the monument you raised from it. Chosen ones, own the narrative. Don't be sentimental about your wounds. Keep them close, study them, and then let them be operational. Your pain becomes precision. Your history becomes ammunition. And while they flail trying to find a handle on what you've become, they'll only discover this: wounds were never meant to weaken you. They were designed for your victory. Number 11. Let every win cut through their doubt until silence is all that's left. Every win you've earned didn't just raise your status. It carved deep cracks in their confidence. Each time you rose, a piece of their certainty collapsed. They used to bet against you like your downfall was guaranteed. Now every victory you collect is a reminder that they backed the wrong story. You see, chosen one, success isn't just growth, it's exposure. Every milestone you hit shines a light on the shadows they hide behind. They can't stand it because your wins prove one brutal truth. They weren't doubting you, they were projecting their own limits. It's poetic, really. They once spoke your name with mockery. Now they whisper it with obsession. They replay your achievements, dissect your moves, search for cracks in your armor. But what they're really trying to find is hope that you'll fail again so they can breathe easier. Yet every time you rise, that hope dies a little more. Their silence now isn't peace, it's suffocation. Because deep down, they know your success rewrote their story. You became the evidence that everything they believed about you and about themselves was wrong. You didn't just win, you turned their disbelief into your spotlight. You became the sound of their failure, echoing back at them. Each of your triumphs slices through their pride like truth through illusion. And when the noise fades, when the gossip runs dry, when all that's left is your results, their only option is silence. That silence is your trophy. It's not the absence of their voice, it's the sound of their surrender. Keep winning, chosen one. Let every victory carve deeper until even their doubt falls quiet. Because silence, in the end, is the loudest proof of all. Number 12. Master the power of quiet. Let your silence shatter their noise. They can't stand it. The silence. It haunts them louder than any war cry ever could. Because your calm exposes everything they tried to hide behind the noise. The louder they shout, the smaller they look next to your stillness. That's the part they'll never admit. That your quiet isn't absence, it's dominance. When you stopped responding, you didn't retreat. You reclaimed control. Silence is the language of those who've already won. And chosen one, you've already won more battles with your stillness than they ever will with their screams. The ones obsessed with your downfall don't realize that every word they throw is energy wasted. They fuel the very fire they swore to extinguish. While they chase validation, you move like thunder cloaked in calm. You don't beg for understanding, you let your results speak, and that's what crushes them. Their noise is a cry for attention. Your silence is proof you no longer need it. You've reached the point where peace is your loudest weapon. Every quiet step you take echoes across their insecurities. Imagine this: a room full of shouting faces, each trying to be heard. Then you walk in, no words, no reaction, and suddenly the air changes. That's power, that's control. They want you loud because they fear what happens when you're still. In your silence, they see reflection. In your peace, they feel exposed. Their obsession grows because they can't fight what doesn't engage. You've made their noise irrelevant. You've made their chaos collapse in on itself. So stay silent, chosen one, not because you're weak, but because your quiet dismantles their noise faster than anger ever could. They crave your reaction, but all they'll get is the echo of their own emptiness, and that's where it all comes full circle. The noise fades, the truth stands, and the chosen rise. Every whisper against you became a stepping stone. Every plot against you turned into a platform. You didn't just survive their obsession, you made it your proof. This is what happens when silence meets power. The universe bows to momentum. Before you go, hit that like button, subscribe, and drop the number 99 in the comments to let the world know you're part of the movement. Share this message so every chosen one remembers: the quietest warrior always wins the loudest war.